Today we're talking about 3 things you can do now that the semester is over. These are 3 things that you should immediately do if you want to set yourself up for success this summer and going forward in your career. If you're excited, if you're ready for summer, what's on your summer to-do list? Put it in the box right now, comment right now, and hit the intro, and then we'll get going, y'all. But stop making excuses, stop whining, stop, right? Get at it. No excuses, just dominate. All right, guys. Like I said, I'm Dr. Pinesett, I'm the study doc. I'm always trying to make you guys better students, better pre-meds. And today we're talking about 3 things you need to do immediately once a semester ends if you want to set yourself up for success, guys. Success. And so the first thing that you guys should immediately do, the semester ends, no matter how the semester went, no matter how anything goes in our lives, we should always recognize we can always be better. So at the end of every single semester, guys, no matter how great it went, it was straight A's, how terrible it went, straight F's, we should always sit down, right, huddle with ourselves and say, wait a minute, how did this semester go? And when we say that, how did this semester go, we don't just answer with a good or a bad or an okay. We literally drill it down and we say, okay, listen, overall, how did this semester go? How did my classes go? How did this class go? How did my extracurriculars go? How was my life? Right? Was I stressed out the whole time? Was I running behind? Did I not feel like I had enough fun in my life? What happened to my relationships? Man, I got to reconnect with my friends and so forth. So we have to look at our lives in multiple, right, lines of delineation, multiple axes to say, how did we do? And we have to really drill that down. So for example, if you got an A in a class, I said, okay, I got an A in that class. Okay, but to get that A, what did I have to do? Did I have to scrap and claw that last week to get that A? How confident did I feel about that A going into the final? Hey, you know what? I got that A, but you know what? I got a great cheat sheet from so-and-so. Did we do the work? Is it repeatable? Because I see this so often where students get excited about a grade and we must recognize, right? I'm telling you guys all the time, your grades are no mark of your intelligence and are no mark of your fund of knowledge. Because there's plenty of us who have gotten an A, me included, and at the end of that A, we don't know a gosh darn thing from that class. If you were to ask us ever again, we wouldn't know because we did just enough to get that A, but nothing else. And so we have to ask ourselves, okay, how did it go? And then we figure out, we drill down, okay, wait, what could have been better? How can we improve this? And then we put a plan in place. This is the second part, right? We recognize what was wrong, what was right, and how we can modify and get it better at it. And then we put a plan in place for how we're going to execute that betterment. We can't just say, okay, you know what? I slacked off a lot this term, and that's why I had to cram. And even though I got the A, I had to cram because I slacked off. So I'm not going to slack off next term. Not slacking off is a goal, not a plan. So we must make a plan to say, okay, you know what? To keep myself from slacking off, I'm going to make sure that I set aside a little bit of time each and every single day to work. And it's not going to be a huge amount of time, but I'm going to say 30 minutes a day. And if I do those 30 minutes, man, those 30 minutes will stack up and I won't be behind. So that's now a plan of action to adjust that. And it may work, it may not work, but at least it's a plan that we can actually carry out to get better. Macy, what is up? Macy just joined 5 Pillars this morning. I'm very excited to see her in our 5 Pillars now, trying to get her routine together, right? And so Macy, for you, I'll teach to the group, right? You're here, Macy, right now. So if one of your issues is a routine, guys, the whole crux of my 5 Pillars of Study Lesson Getting Better Grades system, and you guys can learn more about my system. I have a new 100-minute training. It's awesome. You'll learn a ton of stuff. You'll learn all about how to approach studying, but it's all about creating effective, productive success routines. So if you've ever come out to one of my workshops, if you ever get in one of my courses, I'm all about step-by-step, here's how we create these routines, because if we can make our life routinized, ritualized, where we perform the default action of success, then we will be consistent, we will be effective, and we will count on our success time and time again. Okay? So routines, guys, we've got to focus on that and say, okay, how can we routinize our lives to make it repeatable? And that's something that, as I mentioned, we get the A, but is that A repeatable? So we have to ask ourselves, how do we make sure that A happens every single time for us, not just this once? Then, what we want to do, once we've said, okay, this is how the term went and all these different areas, and we drill it down and we actually put a plan in place, we want to take a second, and one thing that can springboard you to success for that next term is to sit down with all of your notes from all of your classes and consolidate, clarify, concretize those notes so that way when you start chemistry 2 from chemistry 1, or you start OChem from your chemistry series, or whatever it might be, you have a base, you have a foundation to reference, and you aren't like, oh, what happened in chemistry 1? I have no idea, I threw those notes away. So instead, we want to take those notes, refine them, pull out what's high yield, so we have a base to work with so we can springboard forward into our next term. All right, guys? So that's number one, guys. We gotta assess how things went and put a plan in place to springboard forward. Is everybody with me? If you got that, if you like what I'm saying right now, like this video, if we're gonna get better, okay? The second thing that we have to do is being successful in life, guys. When we talk about going to college, A's matter. Why? Because A's open doors and opportunities for scholarships, jobs, otherwise. But the real purpose of going to college is not to get A's and accumulate grades. The real purpose of going to college and taking it seriously and doing well is that we want to build a career, right? Because a career allows us to get money, right? Doing something that we care about, that we're passionate about, that we would love, that we would feel joy about driving to work to do. And secondly, it gives us enough money to do the things outside of work that we want to do, right? I'm going on vacation tomorrow, and my job, I love being an anesthesiologist, but it also pays enough for me to take a vacation this upcoming week, so I'm very excited about that, right? So we want to build that career. So when we are focused on school, we're focused on our career as well. And beyond the grades, one thing that we must recognize that's extremely important to get your career off is having people who will recommend you, having people who will root for you, who are cheerleaders. And so what I want you guys to make sure you're doing is at the end of every single semester, as soon as the semester ends, I want you guys to get in the habit of emailing any letter of recommendation writers or any professors you're gonna want to write you a letter of recommendation. And we do it right then. Why? Because if you wait until you're applying to something to ask for a letter of recommendation, one, they might be busy. I get people right now, right? It's the 1st of July, and right, so it's application season. I get people literally who email me this week, like, hey, Dr. Pinesett, can you write me a letter of recommendation? I need it ASAP. And I'm like, no, I wouldn't write you a letter anyway, but I'm not writing you a letter of recommendation this week because I don't have time this week. I'm going out of town. So for all of you guys asking for it right after the term ends, what is the teacher doing? They've already graded papers, right? The professors already graded everything. They're going to chill. So if you ask them right now for a letter of recommendation, they'll have plenty of time over the summer to work on it. So that's the first thing. They won't be busy. The second thing is you want the immediacy of that letter. So if you ask them right after the class, it's more likely they're going to remember you and anecdotes about you and you being in office hours and so forth. And so that letter of recommendation that you get will be a better letter. And I tell my students that the professor letter that we get for medical school or for graduate school, dental school, it tends to be your weakest letter because they only know you in one aspect. They can say, oh, so-and-so was here, they got an A in my class, they were interesting, boom. But if you can ask for that letter immediately, it amplifies what that letter could be because then they can remember like, oh, so-and-so was confused. And then this student A, the one I'm writing the letter for, went over to student B and they explained it to them on the board and it was so helpful. It was amazing seeing them help another student and pay it forward and blah, 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 blah. So they'll be able to add anecdotes like that, which will enrich your letter of recommendation. The third reason you ask for it right away is because it allows you to insert anecdotes. So anytime you ask them for a letter of recommendation, you should set them up for success by giving them a letter of recommendation packet. This is a packet of materials that help them have everything they need to write you, not just a letter of recommendation, but an outstanding stellar letter of recommendation that will make an impact for you, but that also checks the boxes you need. So you want them to talk about certain things, give them a packet to guide them to that. In the case of a professor letter, an easy way, I teach my students to put a whole packet together. It's in my Dominate Premed course, also my application course. But for you guys right now, the little thing you can do, right, to add to that letter of recommendation, do this. One, put together a little blurb about what your career goals are. It doesn't have to be a whole personal statement. 5 lines. My name is Andre. I come from a disadvantaged background, but I really want to help people both in the hospital and also helping other disadvantaged students behind me come up. And so that's why I want to go to medical school. I'd love it if you could write me this letter. Thank you so much. That's the first blurb, the blurb. The second thing is that I want you to put together a bullet list of anecdotes they can use in the letter. You may or may not remember, Professor so-and-so, that when we first started this class, I was a little bit confused because I hadn't taken X class. But I came to office hours every day for the first 2 weeks of class, and I was there, and you taught me, and because of that, I improved so much. Or, hey, Professor so-and-so, I really bombed the midterm, But I got into gear after that, and I worked hard, and I was able to do well on the second midterm and the final, and ultimately my grade was an A, but I battled uphill. So you can put in those little anecdotes so that way they can have blurbs to make that letter richer and better. The third aspect of this asking for a letter of recommendation is that you want to have them submit it somewhere, not just keep it, because we lose stuff all the time. So ask them to submit your letter to Interfolio or some sort of letter of recommendation holder like that, and then you're good, okay? For the bonus points, guys, too many people are like, ooh, I have to pick who I'm going to ask for a letter of recommendation. Guys, spray it widely. You'd be much better served when it comes down to applying to anything to have lots of letters to choose from than just one or two. So at the end of every term, identify 1 to 2 teachers that you can ask for a letter of recommendation and ask them. So that way you can have a plethora, a smorgasbord, a whole ton of letters of recommendation to choose from when you're looking for scholarships, for research opportunities, for applications to graduate school, whatever. You have this whole bank of LORs you can pull from and get the key ingredient you need that you want to talk about, whether it's adversity, whether it's excelling, whether it's helping other students, and so forth. You'll have all the different letters to choose from to bring out different aspects to sell you in the right lens to take advantage of whatever opportunity is out there, guys. So does that make sense, everybody? That's the step number 2. We want to ask those letter recommendations so we can build our career outside the classroom and make sure that we're showing up. We have all the components we need to move to the next level of our career. Faraz says, Ferris, excuse me, what if we aren't applying for 2 years later? Where would they submit the letter? So Ferris, did I answer your question about where they should submit it? There's Interfolio. There's tons of electronic letter recognition holders. You can also, if your school writes a committee letter, or if you have a counselor at your school, they can send it to your counselor or to your committee, same premise. Okay? That's our second thing. Our third thing is that what we want to do, guys, it's so crucial, especially in times like this where there's a lot of stressors occurring in our lives. We must always value the 3 R's. Does anybody know what 3 R's are? The 3 R's, y'all. These are the key to life. Student success, pre-med success, we gotta have these 3 R's and lots of it. Rest, recovery, and ridiculousness. Yes, ridiculousness. We must rest, guys. As soon as you finish that semester up, get your notes together, get your game plan together going forward, ask for letter recommendations, and then take a week, take 2 weeks, take 3 weeks, take a month, and rest. Get lots of sleep. You've been staying up late cramming for finals because you weren't being consistent, right? Take some time. Get the sleep you need. Get the 8 hours. Get the 10 hours. Sleep in. It's okay. Get that rest. Get those energy levels back up. Get those stores back up. Recovery. Do things that replenish you, that recharge you, that put the zest back in your soul because you've been beat down from a term of grinding away doing papers and taking tests. Go hiking. Pet your dog. Go visit your family. Go for a walk. Go swim at the beach. Do whatever makes you feel great, right? Whatever makes you feel great, go do that. Invest in that to recharge your battery so that way you're excited about life again. Balance out that, right, that work and that life balance. The third thing is that ridiculousness, guys. Go have some fun. Some fun. I can't emphasize enough how important that ridiculousness is, y'all. We got to have some silliness because the world is serious, our lives are serious, our careers are serious. Everything's so serious all the time. But we got to be able to have that fun. And so for me, what I would do actually, after my call days, when I was on shift to the hospital and residency, whatever, after my call days, we had a habit that my wife would come pick me up from the hospital, and she would drive, and I would sleep in the car, and we would drive to Disneyland with the kids. And that was my ridiculousness period after that. When I was an undergrad, right, I went to UC Irvine, home of the ferocious anteaters, zot, right, near the beach. So after I finished up finals, I would go to the beach, and I'd hit the beach like every single day and just have some fun, man, play some volleyball, splash in the waves, you know what I mean, let it hit me in the face. It was wonderful. And so I would bring that ridiculousness in so I could, again, I could feel good, I could feel light, I could feel alive. And so if we can do that, guys, if we can say, okay, listen, I've worked hard this semester, let me take some time for me to rest, to recover, to be ridiculous. That way I can come back strong and serious and charged and get at the next term or get at whatever I gotta do this summer, but I gotta take some time for me to build me up because I've been beating myself down, I gotta build myself back up, guys. Yes, yes. That is what you guys should do after the semester ends. Immediately get it done, guys. Get in there, do those 3 things, and you'll be so much better for it. Can we repeat them? 1, we need to assess how we did, and then be specific about it, put a plan in place. The second thing we have to do, guys, we need to get those letter recommendations, and I gave you guys a couple steps to do to make that a high-level letter recommendation. And the third thing we need to do, guys, is value ourselves, invest in ourselves and our rest, recovery, ridiculous to build ourselves back up so we can charge ahead with zest going forward, okay? So those three things are the things we're gonna do today. The other thing that is always great to do, guys, is we talk about assessing what we're doing and figuring out ways to be more successful, is that we need to work on our study efficiency. Because if we can be more efficient during the semester, guys, we get to the finish line feeling a whole lot better, having performed a whole lot better, and also informed, knowing what we need to do to keep getting better. So I encourage you guys, I have a new training. It's 100 minutes long on the dot, 100 minutes long. It's in the box. You can register right now. It's totally free. Where I'm going to break down a lot of great strategies to help you guys be better students today, immediately. Some incredible strategies to help you better immediately. You'll also hear more about my 5 pillars of studying less and getting a great system, and you'll get a discount on that if you click in there, and you can check that out. So check that out today, guys. The link is in the box. And as always, guys, you can get over to my website. It's thestudydoc.com. Check out my courses, check out my coaching. And I hope if this is your first time here, who's first time? Anybody first timers? Your first time, take a second, like this video, let YouTube know we like this video. If you listen to this on the podcast, take a second, leave a review and say, hey, I like this Study Doc show. I like this podcast. And if this is you're new to the podcast or to the YouTube channel, take a second. If you're on the YouTube, subscribe, turn on live notifications, toggle that bell because we are live action right now. And if you're on the podcast, take a second, follow the podcast, and share it with a friend, guys. Let people know Dr. Pinesett is here. He cares about us. He wants us to dominate no matter the excuses we face so we can be successful, guys. Thank you so much. You guys have an awesome, awesome day. Like I said, I'm off for vacation in the morning, but I wanted to get in here and give you guys some advice how you could utilize the summer effectively before I went. I'll see you guys all in a week. I'm out this piece. I'll see you guys later. That's it for another episode of the Study Doc Show. Show your love by smashing the like button and commenting in the box below. Today is the day, guys. No more excuses, no more complaining. You're going to take your future into your own hands. You're going to dominate. You're going to be successful. I challenge you. What are you going to do today to make your life better? Get to my website, thestudydoc.com. Grab a free ebook, sign up for a free webinar, and if you're really ready to transform, enroll in one of my life-changing courses or coaching programs. You have greatness inside you. Let me show you how to unlock it so you can dominate and make your dreams a reality. No excuses, just dominate.